Good evening and welcome to The Hardest Game. My name's Ben Doughty. I'm delighted to be joined this evening by former ABA champion and prizefighter champion Michael Lomax. Thank you for coming, sir.
Evening, guys.
And I'm equally delighted to be joined by my erstwhile mate, sometimes sparring partner, verbally, of course, everyone's favourite pundit and former WBO Super-featherweight champion of the world, Barry Jones. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, nice to see you again, mate. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And you know, as I said, I'm pretty open-minded on where this show goes. We'll just chew the fat. When I introduced Michael as a former ABA champion, I do think that has an awful lot of nobility and credibility. Pro titles, they vary, and we've spoken about that at length, Gary, in terms of... Sorry, Barry. I'm thinking you're Gary Stretch for a minute.
He's not as good looking as me.
No, that was always his problem. That's why he didn't go as far. But listen, there is something intrinsically, inherently honourable about being an ABA champion. I mean, and I know some people have said, Michael, that that's the most proudest achievement they had, despite having a successful pro career. Do you feel that way?
I was always told if you don't win an ABA title, you're not really going to make it as a pro. But I had that always drummed into my head. So for me, winning a senior ABAs was an achievement because it's one of your goals. Like, I mean, it makes you number one in the country at the time. And then it usually opens up doors for the Commonwealth Games, the Olympics and things like that. So when I won the senior ABAs, the lottery funding just came involved. So we was getting funding to actually do our sport, what we was enjoying. So it made it more of a pleasure as well. And that's how we got to know our guys as well.
Was that thanks to Audley Harrison, that lottery funding? They always said it was due to his success in the Sydney Olympics in 2000.
Well, do you know what? I don't know actually where it come from, because obviously we was all in the same camps at that time. The likes of me, David A, Cole Froch, Courtney Fry, Audley Harrison, we was all in the England squad anyway. So then once he got the Olympics, that opened up the doors as well. But the lottery funding actually started before that, I thought. I thought it was that year he won it was when it all came along.
So maybe that's been falsely attributed to Audley, because a lot of people will say, you've probably heard this a lot, Barry, that we owe, because Audley was a whipping boy when he turned pro. He got a lot of stick because of the nature of how he turned pro, and people didn't think it was really main event material on a terrestrial television platform. And he wasn't he wasn't exactly Otaro Gatti or Joe Fraser, was he? So he got a lot of stick. And some people say we've got Audley to thank for so much of the success that followed in British boxing.
Yeah, I sort of think it's true to a sense. First of all, that wasn't his goal. I mean, everyone gets like Anthony Joshua gets all the praise for the growth of British boxing because of the stadium fights, but that wasn't his goal to help the sport grow. His goal was for him to win stuff and then money for himself. Same with Audley Harrison. His goal was to win medals for him, not for he didn't want to help anybody else. I mean, I'm not slagging him off for that. That's just the reality. But I do think that that lottery funding might have started, but once someone wins a medal in the Olympics, certainly a gold, the amount of money that they give you multiplies, and with that investment gives more opportunities, and we see that now with look how successful the British squad is. If we don't get a medal in the Olympics now, it's deemed as failure if we only get one medal. If we don't get it, if we get a silver, the last Olympics we weren't really, we were disappointed. It's like, how can you be disappointed we got a bronze medal? But I mean, it's not enough. It's not enough anymore, because like when I was a kid, just getting somebody into a quarterfinals was a big deal. Yeah. But just going to the Olympics was enough. Well, obviously you win the ABAs, you had the potential to go to the Olympics, but to win a medal seemed inconceivable. Only the few greats did it. So then when people did, it was a huge deal. Now we've been spoiled and the fighters are no better. They're just more funded, so they're having more opportunities to get to spar people all around the world. They're getting used to different styles. Whereas, in my day, and even in Michael's day, he's a lot younger than me, but you'd only encounter those different styles in tournaments. So you wouldn't know how you come up against it was the USSR when I was a kid, but I mean, a Russian or a Kazakh or a Ukrainian, you would know to cope with that style. You know, I mean, but no, they're sparring. They're going off to Thailand and sparring with each other on a regular basis. So and again, all that is investment in money. I mean, I won a medal in the European Juniors, and the Welsh ABA got £10,000 funding for that, which I got none of that. But I mean, no, that's not much. It was little bits of money. That 10,000 didn't do anything. Didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It didn't help anybody, you know. But it's like, and that's just been a little stupid little junior medal, which is massive for me. But it's, you know, in the scheme of things, doesn't
Still
mean
an
much.
achievement.
No, this is one of my it's one of my proudest moments. I've got to be honest, because like you, Michael, when you win anything as an amateur, you win it against the best people around you. There's no as you know, Ben knows my stance on world titles, and I often criticise my own, but well, always criticise my own.
Yeah.
It's not about the best don't always get to the top. It's the most marketable, the ones at the right place at the right time, opportunities, who you're with, when you're with them, all that sort of stuff. It's not about. There's not a system of a league system where you have to fight the best to get to the top. You can navigate your way around all the ratings and all the best fighters and still win a world title, and that's where the professional game, you know, falters a little bit. It's been better of late, let's be honest, but still, it's still
because we're going through a transitional
system.
phase. We're going through a transitional phase in boxing history, I feel, because it's I mean, but just to clarify, Michael, the first time I met this fella on your right there, it was at a show in Newcastle, and there was a world title of some sort on the line that night. And Barry actually recognised me from my presence on Facebook, and I did recognise him, but I didn't. He was calling me, and I didn't think I knew Barry Jones, so I didn't see why he'd be calling me. But he was just, you know,
I was saying get out of the way. I was saying get out of the way. I couldn't see.
Yeah. So exactly that. So I said, you know, oh, cool, you know, nice to meet a former world champion, all that, or whatever I said. And Barry was a bit embarrassed and said, well, let's be honest. He said, his words, in the real world, I'd have been a European champion if I was lucky, which I think shows a lot of humility and honesty and self-awareness. But like you said the other day, Barry, things have got so diluted now that as time goes on, your claim looks all the more solid and more credible.
Oh, I'm a fucking Hall of Famer now.
Well, I sort of think, even with myself, you couldn't cut corners back then. Either you was number one or you was number two. Now there's all these different divisions and like different setup with the amateurs and that lot. Everyone avoids everyone. And if you are funded, you're not fighting the top boys in England. It's not always anyway, because they're being looked after. My club at the time threatened to say, I'll go and box for Ireland, because my grandparents were Irish. They turned around and said, well, if Lomax is not getting the chances, why is he waiting here? Why is he trying to box for England if they're not opening doors? So Ireland offered me a chance to go with them, and then they gave me an opportunity to fight. It was Sweden versus London, and I beat their number one guy at the time. And then the next opportunity they gave me was against the American number two. What was England versus America at, I think it was the Hilton, wherever they do in London. Every year they do England versus America. And I beat their American number two. So straight after that, they were like, right, we're going to give you lottery funding. So that side of things is, I had to prove myself, but there weren't no cutting, no corners. And for me, even though I was number one in the ratings, I was still being picked for different competitions second best, because you had your favourite boys as well from certain clubs. So it's, I think now, with the amateurs, like literally what I watch of it, it's all like the best of the best, but they're, how can you say, it's they're still picked, they're still looked after. They're not competing against everyone. Like if you win the ABAs, you have to fight every division. You never had no buys. Even with me with the ABAs, I boxed back in the day. They were doing 5-2s. Then they done 3-3s in one night, and I boxed twice on that. So one night I boxed 10 rounds in one night as an amateur, and you're just like, it's mad. Then you start thinking, actually, why am I staying amateur? I must go and get paid. And then
that's an interesting thing though, because I was going to ask both of you, did you go into the pro game with open eyes, or did you get disabused of your illusions? Did you find very quickly it wasn't what you thought it was, the pro game? First, Michael.
I was always said, look, stick to your own style. Don't change. Don't slow yourself down. I've always been a very bouncy and that lot. And that I was hard to hit. What was my assets? But for me, I was given an opportunity to go and train with Oscar Suarez in America. He invited me to move out there, live out there. So I was training out there with Omi Shika, Asalina Freitas, all those lot. So to actually be invited there, I went to watch Prince Nazim fight, and I was introduced to Oscar, and he saw some of my fights in that lot, and he went, "Come back to the States." So I went out there. I had a visa accepted for a year. The only nightmare was I was walking away from a business, what I was earning on my own, earning well, to go out there and try and start something, but I couldn't fight without the right paperwork. So I had a visa to live out there, but I didn't have a fighting visa. So there was other little bits. And in the end, after 4 months, I came home, missed a girlfriend who's now my wife, and started my career here because I had an opportunity underneath one of Barry Hearn's shows, and that opened the doors. But I could have always gone back to the States, and you do think to yourself, "Oh, what could have happened, blah, blah, blah." But I went there, and I was, how can you say, like, I thought I was streetwise. I went to the States, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm like small little fish." And it was so tough. The gyms were like, there's so much quality fighters. They were like, "Man, for a white man, you can fight." And
that was the thing. I mean, I don't want to talk about anything I did. I had a few amateur fights. That's it. But when I trained at Gleason's, you do stand out as a white boxer, especially an English boxer. And if you're a little bit, if you're half decent or whatever, they seem to be a bit surprised at blacks and Latinos, and you get this kind of brotherhood respect of them, like they think you're some sort of novelty or something. Have you seen the American gyms, Barry?
No, I've never been in one. I mean, I've literally never been in one. Never, even when I've gone to the States many a time, I've never really had any desire to go in one. I don't know why that. You think I would, wouldn't you? But I just never thought about it. Yeah, it's just I know they train, I know they spar hard and all the rest of it. I mean, and there's always arguments too. I think that's better for you, but it's not better for your longevity in your life and after boxing. I think that's the problem with that. But I mean, to get you ready for fights, sparring is the best thing for you, of course. So I think you have to train tough and be tough. I would say one thing though, about the route that we might be going down here is that your time's your time. So however hard or easy it was for any one of us, that's just how it was. And now it's just as hard. It seems easy to us, but you can't blame the fighters. All you do is fight who's in front of you. All you do is take the opportunities that are given to you. And if you win an Olympic medal, you're given more opportunities and an easier ride. If you don't win one of those, then it's a tougher thing. If you're a good-looking guy and charismatic, or you've got a selling angle, then that helps, and all those sort of things. If you're a woman boxer, you only got 5 fights to fight for the world title, and if you're a heavyweight, you can be recycled so your legs fall off because there's always money around you.
Chisora.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a perfect example.
But I sort of found 5 years before I turned pro, boys were still getting the opportunity to learn the trade. Now, boys don't learn the trade. The way I look at it, if you're an elite fighter, whoever's in front of you, you need to adapt straight away. Like, once you start representing your country as an amateur in that lot, you're there. So when you turn pro, whoever's in front of you, you should be able to adapt to their style. But at the same time, if you don't beat them, you're not good enough. And that is not about, that's the way I look at it.
That's what Eddie Hearn says, right? When he's got a bit of a reputation, his knockers suggest that he gets prospects beat too easy, and he's ruined too many unbeaten records and kids who might be going places. And Eddie says, well, my thing is it's a yardstick, it's a natural filter. If you're not good enough to beat this kind of guy, then you're not really going anywhere on the level that I'm invested in. So I don't want you. What do you think, Barry?
You don't go for a world title after 4 fights, that side of things. No.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I used to have like the bums. Without journeymen, you need the journeymen to toughen you to get the rounds behind you. And I had some tough journeymen. My first fight back in the day, I had Ernie Smith, and he was a tough man.
And you boxed his brother as well.
Within about a minute and a half, he got back up. Yeah, and he got back up and lasted the hog. But through him, I realised, well, I can't just go and bang people out. I bruised both my hands on his head. He was as tough as you like. And what did I learn from that? I learned, well, apart from he was smoking a fag out the front, I walked in, I was like, what the hell, what's going on here? And I walked in there and he's lasted 4 rounds with me and he come out and goes, mate, what an experience that was. But then I had to learn from that. So you can't just go out and blow people out. So that's the way I looked at it. But you're not, nowadays, the way I look now is I'm watching these fighters and they're challenging British titles and things like that with like 6 fights. And you think, well, yeah, if you're good, why not? Why not?
Well, what were you going to say, Barry? Are we still on that kind of?
Yeah, no, yeah. I was just going to say that if you're not good enough to beat somebody, then you shouldn't be. I mean, you might be not good. You might not be good enough now. You might be good enough in 2, sort of similar to what Mike was saying.
That's the whole point, isn't it? Yeah.
It's time is everything. You have to garnish the experience, and I think fighters are rushed. Some are rushed too quick now. I mean, and some are not. I mean, some are timed perfectly. Some are rushed too quick. But they have a longer amateur career than they used to have, I think, than I would say. Like I turned pro at 18. Most people would turn pro by the time they were 21, 22. And usually now they're turning pro 26, 27. Some of them. Most of them, I would say. So they're accelerated, I think, because they're boxing as mature men, as an amateur, where most
George
of us
Crotty is a good example of that. George Crotty's like 29, I think, 30, and he had plenty of international amateur experience. He's only just had his debut with Warren the other day.
Yeah, exactly. So so then you can be fast tracked it up because you're a bit more mature, and you have to be, I think, because you haven't got the time on your side. But but if you put someone in too soon, I wouldn't have beat the guy I beat in my 14th fight, in my first fight, or my 3rd fight, or my 5th fight. I probably wouldn't have. You know what I mean? So I've learned through that, like Mike was saying, you learn by getting journeyman or fighters around your level, or competitive fights against people who shouldn't beat you because they haven't got the ability, but they're going to come and win. And you learn all that. Tall fighters, short fighters, big punchers, can't punch, fast feet, all that. You need to go through all those styles, southpaws, to help you on your way when you do get to the level. Whatever your level is, whether it's area, British, European, Commonwealth, World, whatever your level might be, when you get to your level, you can be competitive and maybe win. I mean, that's all. At the end of the day, I mean, nowadays we have a narrative of if you don't win a world title, you're shit. I mean, that's just,
there's so much expectation nowadays.
I mean, it blows my mind, like. It's just crazy. Like if you win an area title, that's fucking mega. I mean, it's mega, and anything else above that. I mean, some fighters are great and are going to go on to great things. And if I wouldn't have won a British title, I would have been disappointed. I didn't win one, but I mean, that was my marker. I thought I can get to it. I'm pretty sure I can win a British title. When I turned pro, I thought I was good enough for that. But depending who was around, if Colin McMillan was still British champion, I'm not going to beat him, am I? So it's that sort of thing. But I think at the time, I think that was a realist. I beat the British champion actually in the end. So but I mean, and then everything else. Once you get to that level, then you're thinking, well, everything now is just fucking a bonus. You just keep going until you get beat.
Whereas
and then I got beat by your gym mate, Ashley Freitas.
Yeah. I mean, so Caroline Dubois report last night. She got upgraded recently to the status of a world champion. I know the talent pool is more shallow in the female game, and I like Caroline, but she was saying this is a dream come true. And obviously, the inquiring minds would say, how can it be a dream come true when they told you by email or whatever that you're a champion? And it kind of helped that her first defence ended so ignominiously as well last night.
But the thing is, though, the fact is, right, there was no need to give it a title over via email. Because that could have been a world title shot. Just make that number one contend. Just make it number one. You're gonna be. Everything's gonna be. They put an interim belt attached so they can charge a fee. That's
exactly
all.
They're in the business of belts. The TV and the public like them. They buy into them, and they can charge money to rent them.
But I think the TV wouldn't care so much about it now because I think times have changed a little bit. Before, every top of it had to be a title fight. And the undercard had to be a title fight before because they were harder to come by or less recognisable. But now, I think people know that not every title's worth its weight in gold or in plastic. So you can literally just make it like this is to guarantee a number one spot. So as soon as that title becomes vacant or the champion becomes available, she gets that spot automatically. And the same with the men's game. Her and her brother both won titles, sat down.
Yeah. And do you know something?
It's not their fault, by the way. And then Daniel, then he beats Anthony Joshua, That's his first defense. It's fucking madness. First defense.
It is madness, and then even then it shows you the cockeyedness when they have
But-
Joshua walk in less because he's the bigger commercial animal. But do you know something? Just quickly before we bring Michael in, I told Don Charles last week that I can't consider his boy a world champion. I said in no way can I possibly consider him a world champion when the other guy was just leveraging to giving it up and donating it to him. And just because you beat Anthony Joshua doesn't. And Don, to be fair to him, he was very okay about me saying that to him, which I appreciate. But that's my take on it, I'm afraid.
I got to say, no, you're right. Of course you're right. But I mean, we have to have the same energy for every fighter then. So then...
Oh, yeah.
And also,
where does it end?
And who do you say is the champion? Or that lineal thing. You go, that's impossible to track, that lineal champion for any weight, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean... But where do you stop with that? Who's the champion then?
It's madness, of course. But Michael, are you still really dialed into the game? Are you still a big fan and you watch all the fights?
I watch as much as I can. I don't go to shows. I can't be around the people. Do you know what it is? Yeah, you go out and it's like everyone comes up, oh mate, how's things in it? And I'm looking at you, it's like, I don't recognise you, and it's hard. And I go out and I had a few experiences, like for instance, I've done charity night and helped out for an event and that lot. And I don't know if I should be saying it, but there's just drunk people. I can't be around the drunk people, the drugs and that lot. There's people there freely doing it in the toilets, and I just can't. I can't be around that because...
Was that never your scene, Michael?
Pardon?
Was that never your scene?
No, I'm not into that. For me to go, I went to this event with my daughter and my wife, for instance, and they were in the toilet, and there was the women's toilets weren't working, so everyone was using the one toilet, and someone come out, and my wife was like, someone come in there and went, does anyone want a cheeky line? And my daughter's there. She's 14. And I was just like, I'm going, let's go. I can't be around that. And not saying everyone's like that, because when I'm there, the atmosphere is great. It gives you the buzz. And if you're cheering on your mates and that lot, yeah, but as well, there's too many idiots as well. And that's the idiot bit. The best for me, I like watching it on the TV. I work all the time. And so when I do get home, I have a nice little cheeky shandy or something and watch the boxing in peace and quiet.
But that's the thing
for you, Barry.
That's the thing. Sorry, that's the thing. I would say, if you really want to watch a fight, stay at home. If you want the atmosphere, you go to the fight. I mean, if you really want to watch a fight, like I never went. There's a load of fights I haven't gone to in the UK. Sort of half regretted it. I mean, Froch and Groves too. I really wanted to watch the fight, so I didn't go. But I didn't go. I didn't go because I know if I go, I'm not going to watch it. I'm gonna be around people and talking, and
it's a bit different for you though, because a lot of the time you're right ringside, right? You know, with headphones on the bloody apron. You'll say, "I know that was a low shot. I know that was a low shot because I heard it hit the protector." So it's a little bit. In a way, you're protected from some of the hoi polloi that Michael is referring to.
But this is like if I go as a fan of it, this is not the show that I'm working on. Yeah. So
and the spectating thing, it sounds good when you get the invite. Always get tickets offered to me. Was lovely, but like I think the last one was at Wembley and that lot, and it's getting home from Wembley is.
Listen, I couldn't get home. I mean, I'm working. I'm Joshua fell over by my face pretty much. I could give him a kiss. I mean, it was horrible. By the way, that Fury Usyk fight, like that was so. I mean, I got covered in blood when he got cut. It's all over my bald head. And a little red line all over my suit. I took my suit to the dry cleaners. They wanted to keep it. But I told them it was
the memorabilia.
it was Fury's blood. But I got Darren Barker, who was like 6 foot, and I got Todd Grisham, was like 6'3". Not a speck of blood on either one of those. I'm like a midget. I'm covered in it. It's gone right. It's past both. They've gone right in the middle, all over my face. I mean, they're sort of like really good. You don't want that, but they're sort of like you look back sometimes and you go. You take your job for granted. Like you take boxing for granted. It's only when you retire, Mike, you realise as much as all the shit and all the rest of it, and the longer you're retired, the better you remember it. I would say that. You look back and go, like, some of the things I always tell kids. Sorry, I've never finished a sentence. I always tell kids about, remember, like, you're chasing a dream and you might not get there, but there's so many people in life who don't get the opportunity to chase a dream. So it doesn't matter if you fail or succeed. having that opportunity, especially in your 20s, when you haven't, we all I had a kid at 19, and I worked all throughout my career. I mean, when you're a kid, you don't really think like you do now as an older man about responsibilities and stuff like that. When you're 20, you're free to just go for it. And I say, just go for it. Like, you know, you can sort your life out. You think you're too old when you get to 30, but you're not. You're still a kid. I mean, I only realize this now. I'm in my 50s, but I mean, you've got so much time on your side, and just like to chase a dream. And we're all bitter with our career. I'm bitter on my career ended, and it could have been better, but also it could have been a lot worse. Same with all of us. It could have been a lot worse. No, but like we chased it. We went for something. You know, we know that people calling your name, and it's a bit of I look back fondly, and also, but I've also said, like, I don't know if I can be truly 100% happy ever in my life again, because like that.
Seriously,
No, I'm not a guy who wants. I'm not a guy who wants to be famous. I never appealed to me. But the buzz that boxing gave me, whether it's 10 people or 50 or 5,000 people, or boxing in front of 20,000 people, no. That buzz is irreplaceable. I don't know where you get. And that's
De La Hoya said that. I saw De La Hoya last night at the Ring Magazine.
What does he
Awards. Know? And exactly that. But he always looks miserable, Barry. And when he was on Mike Tyson's podcast and he said, "How is life treating you?" or whatever, De La Hoya said, "To be honest with you, fucking miserable," because he wants to fight still. Even now, he'd rather fight.
Well, you're chasing peace. See, you're looking for, like, I think especially for I think the bigger names is obviously worse, even though they got all the money. They got all the money, which means they don't have to get, like, at a certain point in my career, a couple of years after I retired, I had to get a job. I had to. Yeah. What am I going to do? Like, I didn't have loads of money. So, like, I had to get some sort of structure back to my life. But if I would have millions, like Ricky Hatton, for instance, he doesn't need structure. He doesn't need the money.
Ricky is always on holiday. Ricky's always on holiday.
Yeah, he needs structure to his life. But because he got money, he's not forced to do it. So, like, they wander around, lost, looking for that buzz, and it's usually drink and drugs. That's the only thing. I don't drink, but I don't take drugs, and I never have. I haven't drunk since I was 17. So, I mean, I was lucky that I stopped doing that, because otherwise I would have been on the piss and taking drugs and hitting people in the street. That's another buzz, by the way. All these things, and for more aggressive fighters, it's worse. And I think that's where it spirals, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. You're looking for something you can never find. So, but you want peace, but then you do all the things that'll never give you peace. You're looking for the buzz. Is not going to give you peace. At some point, you just got to accept stuff and move on, and accept what you did. Like, you went for it. You were brave. You went for it. You chased a dream, and that's a gift that most people would just are so jealous of. Not achieving the dream, chasing the dream, and that's amazing. Yeah.
Does some of the big names you interview not realise that you were a world champion? Do some of them not necessarily know what you did when you're talking to some big stars like Bivol or whoever?
Oh, they don't know who I am. Full stop. I mean, but I don't care. You know me. I never care. I mean, some of the people I work with don't know who I am. I mean, that's the America. They don't. That's fine.
The funny thing about it. So the other day I went to the dump, and I opened the door, and this bag of rubbish fell out on the floor. I was like, oh, I can't believe it. And he was like, "Don't worry." He goes, "Just anyway, wondering. Like, your name says Michael Lomax and that. Was you the boxer who won Prizefighter?" And I was like, "Yeah, many moons ago, mate." He was like, but it's still, that's like, say what, 20 years ago now? Or maybe 15 years ago. And people still recognise, like, I don't know him from Adam. And it's just that little bit. I got home and I said to my wife, "Never guess what? This guy only recognised me." I don't even know.
Oh, good. Yeah. But well, you know, I know we're winding down to I told you 30 minutes, Barry, and I'll honour that. But when you talk about recognition and people knowing who you are, on the flip side, Barry, now I've got you here, there's something I want to say to you. One thing about you, whenever I have asked, so if somebody is asking for birthday messages from famous boxers or get well soon messages because someone's a bit under the weather, you've always complied. You've always agreed to do it. But the thing that impresses me about you is not just the fact you always do it with no questions asked. It's the energy and the commitment and imagination you put into these messages that I asked you to give someone a shout out who you've never met in your bloody life before. And to me, that is a gentleman and a champion. And I just want to, because everything's covered in macho banter.
I'm such a brilliant guy. Amazing. I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean. And I knew you'd parry it, but I just want to tell you that regardless. So take it or leave it.
All I know is like last night at the Ring Awards, Magazine Awards, like I don't really take stock on what I'm doing. Like, and every
You were
now and
there, yeah?
again, like Saturday night, last night, I sort of went, look at all these, look, like I'm around these fighters, I'm taking it for granted. These
I
are
was
like,
there, but I didn't see you. It's a shame.
I was up on the stage when I doing my stuff, like, actually,
Yeah, I was on a red carpet.
oh no, I was in the hall where the food was.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I'm looking, I'm going like, it's just like I tell you what, in like the last Riyadh show in December, and like we got Usyk up on the stage with us, and it's like talking and laughing and joking, and I'm like, fucking hell, like this is just mega. I mean,
Yeah.
I meet more fighters now, like superstar fighters, great fighters, than I did when I was boxing. Because when you're boxing, people, I said that on the broadcast yesterday. I said most of the, like some of the fighters there were starstruck with other fighters because you think everyone lives in a, we all live in a bubble, we all see each other all the time, or they see each other all the time, but they never meet. Most big fighters never meet. So like now they're all in one big room and they're all going like Joshua was going. No, he's met Ricky Hatton. He's always just Ricky Hatton there. I can remember Ricky when I was a kid. You know, things like that. Or everyone like goes Roberto Duran, Shane Mosley's there. There's things like that, and but it's like just, everyone's just going, oh look at that, look at him. Oh, look at Better B. He looks tiny, don't he?
Yeah.
But he also looks like a brick wall. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everyone's going, look at Canelo's a midget. You know what I mean? Like he's like the most dangerous midget on the planet. He's not. He's my height, Canelo. All his 5'9" rubbish is bollocks. He's
You
my
know
height.
I'm going to clickbait this up, don't you? Canelo, most dangerous midget on the planet. Barry Jones. That's the title for this YouTube video.
I know. I'm only saying it because I know you don't do that, but I mean,
Yeah, thank you.
No, you should. That's how you get the views.
That's why I'm getting nowhere. Yeah.
All you got to do is click that up and say McGuigan said.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sometimes you look back and you just think like Saturday, yesterday I took stock and thought, do you know what? Like this is some job I got. I mean, I don't take it for granted, but job's a job. And you're always working. You always think about the next job for more money. You always think about trying to earn money. That's all that's all of us think about, isn't it? How do you get the next job to pay the rent and pay the mortgage? But like sometimes you gotta like go, oh, just have a look around and look what you're doing. Look who you're talking to and stuff. And I don't kiss boxers' asses, unfortunately. I mean, I almost go the other way, so I don't want to look like I'm kissing an ass. But I really want to go up to them and I want to cuddle them and go.
Having said that,
Can I have your autograph?
Yeah, I do. No, I do. But I mean, Darren Barker, who's the loveliest man on the planet, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He really is. Like, he don't give a shit. Like, he just goes, he's going, I got to meet Canelo. And I go, fucking hell. Listen, Canelo's a great fighter. And like, still the best fight I commentated on, him and Golovkin. But in my mind, that's still the biggest night of my broadcasting career. Even though I did Fury Usyk 1 and 2. But that's still the biggest, in my mind, that's still the biggest fight I've ever done. But like, I wouldn't go up to him and ask for a photograph. I'm like, 50 years of age, I'm not going to go and ask him for a photograph. Who am I? Like, you just behave yourself. But Darren doesn't give a shit. I love his attitude. He just goes, no. I'm going to go up to you. I'm going to go, can I get a photograph? Thank you. Like,
I wonder when I'll grow out of it. Because, I mean, last night I did a bit of work. I did what I could on the red carpet, whatever. You can't get a lot at these kind of events. And I was just leaving. Then I saw Duran just got, going to the toilets with a minder. And I thought, I've got pictures with Duran. I must have about 4 pictures with Duran different times already. But I thought, I want another one because we're both wearing tuxedos and it's going to be the best one I've ever had with Duran. So I'm waiting. I said to the minder, do you mind taking a picture when he comes out the urinal? And he's like, no, that's all right, mate. So I'm thinking, I don't want to be wearing a laminate because Duran's not wearing a laminate. So I take the laminate off, my bow tie comes off, one of them things you do at the back. So then suddenly I'm trying to put the bow tie on and I've got the minder trying to fix it for me. And he says, sorry, mate, I'm struggling here. He was Welsh as it goes. It's probably why I couldn't do it. But so in the end, I just stuffed the bow tie in my pocket, put the laminate back on. So that's an example of vanity and clout chasing going wrong.
Yeah.
But you got it, haven't you?
On that note, Barry, always a pleasure. I meant what I said earlier, the good things. And I no doubt I will speak to you very soon.
Yeah,
thank you for joining us.
Take care, Barry.
Nice to see you again, Mike. You take care of yourself, mate. All right?
Nice to yourself.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Take care.
Cheers, guys. I'm going to get rid of him. And then there were 2. I thought,
cheeky
hang on.
Fucker, get rid of him. What the fuck are you on about?
Hang on.
Speaking to?
There's not normally a delay like that. I thought it would just be gone. So we had a question just back there, Michael, from a guy whose name I have trouble saying. I think it is Kung Kao, who says, which club did Michael box for as an amateur? I read that he won a few titles and got representative honours for England. So I'm sure you can answer him that question.
Well, I started off Waltham Forest Boxing Club when I was 8
Yeah.
years old. Done what I had to do there for about 5 years. Sort of at the time, I needed to go further, sort of thing, because I weren't getting the fights, weren't being entered for the junior schoolboys and all that lot. So then I went West Ham and done really well. West Ham.
You train under Mickey May?
Yes,
Mickey May,
Johnny Eames,
Johnny, I know him well.
Terry Henry. So that was the good old days. Back then, sparring Kevin Lear was amazing. Sid Lee. Who else was Guy Wild? Some really good fighters. And then the seniors started leaving. They were all going off doing their all other adventures and that. So then Johnny Eames went to Broad Street because he turned into a pro trainer.
Yeah.
So he asked me do I want to follow? So I went, yeah, we go Broad Street. But at the same time, he had his boys, Kevin Lear and that lot, turning pro. And I weren't ready to turn pro. So I went to Broad Street and started boxing for them. Got to the senior ABAs the first year I was there at light welterweight. I was massive for the weight. I don't even know how I managed to get down to light welterweight. Fought Nigel Wright in the finals, lost to him.
Yeah,
who
good fighter.
Was an outstanding fighter, amateur and pro.
Yes.
Lost to him, and then I went up to welterweight, and then I got to done really well that year. First year as welterweight, I started boxing for England a little bit more. Boxed Tony Cesi, that senior ABAs. I got disqualified against him. And then I ended up winning the senior ABAs for Broad Street, but being number one. But I was the first senior ABA winner ever at Broad Street, what was an achievement. And I always thought it was going to be, for me, I was going to be the first one for a long time since Nigel Benn at West Ham. But because I'd done that change, if I didn't move to Broad Street, I could have been at West Ham. So yeah, one of those. And then obviously, and then I turned pro after that.
Yeah, it's just someone just mentioned Tony Cesi from Repton. Exactly that. Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's something that a lot of the boxing world don't know this yet. But Tony Cesi, he never turned pro, but was an ABA champion like yourself, and just a big figure, almost in retirement. He did so much for his local community and for the youth of places like Canning Town when he was running youth-based projects out of the old TKO gym. Tony has been struck with motor neurone disease, I believe it is, and he's going to need a lot of care and currently needs a lot of care. And on March the 15th, we're going to hold, in conjunction with Chrissy Morton of Bad Boy Promotions, you're helping us out with it too, Michael. We're going to hold a benefit type affair, a kind of evening for Tony Cesi, which he will attend. And we're trying to raise a bit of needed funds for. I think he's going to need some special kind of bed type thing, which does certain things, which helps with his day-to-day care. It's something that I wanted to get the message out there tonight because I know a lot of people are not actually aware that he's in ill health at the moment. You know. Hello. So is your screen frozen? So I seem to have lost Michael there. I wonder whether that was just a conversation stopper, but I think his screen actually froze at that point when I was just talking about Tony Cesi there. Let's see if he comes back. Let's see. He might have been having some sort of problem there. Not sure what that's about. In the meantime, I can keep talking. So I went to the Ring Magazine Awards last night. It was a massive event. Some of you might have seen it on DAZN, or I believe it was on TNT Sport as well. I don't suppose. Here he comes.
Get the wife in.
Oh, you had to let her in?
Yeah, to get her in. No.
No, I see what you're saying. You had to get her to solve the IT problem.
Yeah, don't know what went wrong there. So we just turned off all the TVs in the house off.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, we were just talking about Tony and the fact that we're organising like a kind of benefit night for him in honour of him, and an evening with Tony
Yes.
Cesi kind of thing, because a lot of people don't know that he's in ill health, right?
Yeah, no. So I was told 2 weeks ago, like, such sad news. Like, we do, like, all us England boys, ex-England fighters, we all keep together. We've got a lovely little group chat, and I've got one of my friends. He said, look, he's doing an event for Tony in Liverpool. So Gary Jones has put this event on in Liverpool, and that's on the 25th of January.
Okay,
I said, look, mate, I can't get there for that. I've got too much going on, Christmas work, blah, blah, blah. I said, do you know what? I'm going to put something on myself. So he told me he's been diagnosed with motor neurons disease, like, and I was gutted, like, literally. So I've done a bit of homework. I started speaking to a few people. A woman called Chrissy who does Bad Boy promotions and things like that.
Good friend of mine.
And yeah, and we've managed to get an event going on in the 15th of March. And it's been confirmed today that it's going to go ahead. I spoke to Eddie Hearn yesterday. He's one of my clients and he's going to donate some charity bits for an auction.
Brilliant.
And
he's one of your clients in what capacity, by the way?
I've got a car valeting business.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, I clean his car, even though I used to box for his dad. But a lovely guy. And in the past, I've had friends who have been unwell, like a good friend of mine, Mark Potter, sent me a little message and things like that. So Eddie always goes out of his way. If there's someone he can help you with, he'll do that. So I said to him, do you know Tony? And he said, yeah, I know Tony. I said, let me know if you need anything for auction. I'll sort that out for you. So brilliant. I've tapped up another few more of my clients in that lot. I'm going to make some more phone calls over the next coming week. Now we've got this date confirmed, and we're going to sell tickets. The main plan is Tony needs a special bed, so we're raising £4,000. Let's start at £4,000 for this special adapted bed for him to help him out with the time he's here and that lot, and with what's going on in that. He's finding it very hard. As we know, it's a very horrible disease, and he needs help now.
Yeah, and Tony was always so fit and healthy, always looked so young. He never seemed to age, and it just shows you that the things that can happen out of the blue, Michael. You know what the old axiom about never knowing what's around the corner. You know.
Exactly, and do you know what I mean? I boxed him twice, and both times great experience. He was always a great asset in the England squads. Like, he was always laughing, always jokes. Even when I phoned him the other day, we're laughing about the past, but then we're crying as well, because it's upsetting knowing one of our own. But our boxing family is such a close family. We all keep together, and if someone's down, we're there for you. And that is the main thing. We all want to stick together. So for us, like I said, I boxed Tony twice. First time I got disqualified.
What was it for, by the way? What was the infringement you got thrown out for?
So the senior ABAs.
What was the disqualification for?
I backhanded him. I slapped him around his face in the ring, and I was doing it a couple of times. And it weren't that. I was flicking out my jab, but it looked like a slap. And then the ref, I was winning the fight, but the ref disqualified me in the last round. So that was that. And then I went to the ABAs to watch David A fight, I think it was, that how he was getting on. And Tony approached me, all kicked off, all aggressive. He goes, how dare you insult me? Give me a backhander in the ring and that lot. Let's go and sort this out outside. Yeah. And I was like, come on then. As if I'm bothered by you. Before you know it, we're hugging, like, we're talking. We left the venue like hating each other. But then we was at an England squad. We had to get on. So we made our differences. And then I had to go and fight him the following year in the senior ABAs. And then I went on to beat him. But the nice thing about it was the Discovery Channel was doing a video on up-and-coming boxers. And they'd done the whole feature of me and Tony on our grudge, on the build-up, for us winning. And then I went on to win the senior ABAs that year.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it? The bond between former opponents. In almost all cases, there is that bond between guys, especially guys who are rivals and box each other more than once. You know.
Well, I had that with Chaz Simmons.
Chaz, I knew you'd say Chaz. Yeah.
Chaz, I saw Chaz probably about 2 months ago. He was at one of my clients. He's got his own rubbish clearance company, and he's doing really well. He jumped out the van and went, "Lomax!" Come running up, hugging me and that lot. It's the first time I've seen him in probably 8 years. And prior to that, I saw him a couple of weeks after our fight and that lot, and he joked around to me and went, "I've just woke up, Lomax." And I just cuddled him and laughed at about it. But I mean, you have that modesty, like you have all those hate things and that lot. I've always been a gentleman when I've been boxing and that lot. But
I attended a press conference for one of your fights, possibly the second fight, Steve Goodwin press conference. It was in town somewhere, quite a small venue. And I seem to remember he was being a bit truculent and a bit kind of had his game face on. And I think you were being more kind of more gentlemanly and saying, "This is really not my style." That's my memory of it anyway. Yeah. I remember that it was ill-tempered, but not on your side. Is that an accurate remembrance of the situation?
What happened, it's in the past now, but he turned around to me after the first time I beat him. He thought he won it. And I said, "No, it didn't happen." He goes, "Even your wife didn't think you won that fight. She come up to me and told me you deserve to have lost that." I was like, "Don't get my family or my wife involved in it." So on the way in, I threatened to throw him out the window. So then the board of control come over and said, "Look, mate, don't even go down that route now, guys. Wait till fight night." But me being me, I've gone to Loughton. We've gone to Loughton for something to eat. We've gone in Nando's. I'm sitting down there. Who's walking in? Chazza. I'm like, right. So I've just got up, walked in, and met him before he got to the door. I went, "Mate, don't even start disrespecting my family. Otherwise, we're sorting this out now." He goes, "No, mate, I'm really sorry. It's just selling the last of the few tickets." And that is the pressure boxers have. You need to put the bums on the seats, and you give that dirt trash to sell the tickets. And
it's really gone into orbit, that kind of culture, since you retired, hasn't it? Do you feel, that these days it's part of the course that they try and manufacture these beefs all the time now?
The thing is, though, like I used to sell hundreds of tickets. Like even I think for the Prizefighter, I've done about just under 300 tickets for it. What atmosphere is brilliant. When you're selling that amount of tickets, you're buzzing. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. You're focused. But back then, we didn't have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all that lot. So then you start thinking, well, now it's easier to market fighters, definitely.
Do you find yourself wishing you were boxing today when you look at what's happening today, including social media, the big Riyadh season explosion?
Do you know what? Well, apart from going out there, the wages haven't really changed too much.
A grassroots,
No, when I speak to people, it's not that like, I believe I was on good money when I was fighting. I was happy, and the opportunities I had, I was happy because I know if you're a chief support on TV, you're getting paid well. And I had plenty of chief support fights, main fights, and things like that, prize fighter. So that I know I was earning good wages compared to some of the others. But the difference is with me, I still worked full time. I still run my own business. I'd be working the day before I had my weigh-in, even though I'm draining down, because I always had this thing in my head. I want to win. I want to be a champion, but I'm not sacrificing, giving up a business, what pays my bills, whatever the boxing did. When I fought Kell Brook, I got a loft conversion done. That's that. I mean, when I won Prizefighter, 5 days later, I went and bought a second house. So,
do you know what I thought was funny about the Prizefighter? Because I was involved with a couple of fighters who boxed in a Prizefighter. and I saw what went on, backstage and stuff. And they paid you in cash, even when you won the 32 bags. They still paid you in cash, didn't they? Everybody, all the fighters just got given.
I'm not saying a thing.
Yeah, well,
Cash is rich.
do you know? Well, yeah. I know what you're saying, but I'll give you an example. Ty Fields, who lost in the final to Mike Perez, the Cuban heavyweight, when they did an international heavyweight prize fighter at, I believe it was at Ali Pali back in 2011, I think it was. I was involved with a Hungarian heavyweight called Lucian Bot, who lost in the first series to Konstantin Eric. So anyway, I was drinking. I was still drinking back then. I don't drink anymore. But I was having several beers at the hotel afterwards with Ty Fields, the losing finalist. And I don't know what business of mine it was in the first place, but I said, "Where have you got the money?" Because we were drinking quite a lot. You know what I mean? I said, "You got your money, haven't you?" Because I know he had 18 grand. And he sort of said, "Oh, my mum's got it, I think." But you know what I mean? But they were definitely paying people in cash, which seemed a bit strange in this day and age, or even that day and age, But that's what it was.
Yeah, well, my wife used to go and bank the money. So, like, literally near to the end of my career, when you're talking like the big fights, that was always balance transfers. Things just changed. But for me, like, I used to get £150 to go and spar someone. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the difference. I don't know what goes on now. But like,
it's about the same. You know what? If you spar with somebody, of a certain level, like he's got a world title fight coming up, they'll probably give you like a 1 or 150 usually for maybe 8 rounds.
But for me, I'd be, because I'm my own boss. I'd be at work, check my watch. Right, I've got to be at TKO gym 1 o'clock. Go down there, do my spar, and then go back to work. So for me.
You never let it interfere with. You never let the romance of wanting to be a champion interfere with your business brain and the need to put food on table.
The only thing I did do was, obviously, when I did go to the States, I let go of everything. I sold my car. I hit my savings because I never knew what I was going to have out there. But then for me, because I didn't have a working visa, I was like, mate, I am not you. I love money. I work hard. I've got nice things because I've worked hard. I'm not going to lose everything chasing a dream. So when I had the opportunity, when I came back and I had my first fight on Sky, I had no reason to go back there, even though training with Oscar and all those fighters was amazing. My career started as soon as I got back here. And then it just went from there. Like, my first year, I had 5 fights. But then after that, I had 2. And then the year after that, I had 1. And then if I was relying on my boxing to survive, I'd be homeless. So that's why I always put my work first. I never said no to a fight.
But was retirement a little bit easier for you than it is for some fighters then, because you were so grounded and you had a way of getting your money?
Because I work well, hard, and that lot. But when I did retire, I was 36 years old, number 6 in the country. So people don't last that long. So I turned pro at 24. So I was there a long time. Like, prior to Chaz Simmons, I was fighting with Liam Williams. So that's not, you know what I mean? Like, I've got been half decent. Yeah, all right. It was a 2 weeks notice. But when people dangling that sort of money in front of you, are you going to say no? No, you're not. Because I think to myself, how many cars do I have to clean for double figures? It's not happening. And in the end, as much as I knew I was self-managed, I knew my last fight was always going to be Chaz. Like, once I lost to Liam, I was like, I want one more fight. I'm going out on a high. Don't care who it is. I'm going out on a high. And I trained like a machine, and Chaz was my retiring fight, and I had no regrets on that. Some of the fights I regret my first loss, because I shouldn't have been competing at like welterweight. I'm 6 foot tall.
Yeah,
I mean,
it must have been damn hard for you to get down to 10 stone.
I used to walk around at 12'10". So, like, even 12'10", getting down to 11 stone to the end of my career was hard. As you get older, it's harder to lose the weight. So, but then the person I lost against weren't
Watson.
Craig Watson, genuinely strong as you like, but then he jumped up in weight and went and beat Matthew Hatton.
Yeah.
But with me, I was training out with Nicky Cook at the time out in Tenerife. So I was super fit, but I get the phone call because my other fight pulled out and I had to lose over a stone in a week. So
for people who have never done that, how does one go about that? What does that involve when you have to cut that kind of weight when you're already tight?
I've been really good with my eating and that lot. My wife used to hate me because like I'd be so angry all the time because I'm taking sacrifices, but I'm eating my small meals every 2 hours, drinking plenty of water, the running an hour in the morning, then I do my second workout. But at the same time, I'm working. So I'm working 6 days a week on that, being a husband, being a dad. But to lose like a stone and a half, 2 stone, there was massive sacrifices. 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. So if I don't do it right, then the last 2 days, I wouldn't eat for 2 days to make weight and still jog. And then it's all about how you rehydrate yourself. And I was very good with that as well because I knew I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you can't use weight as an excuse of losing. It was my preparation weren't right. I didn't do it right to lose the weight. So that's the way I look at it. So yeah, with the weight, always I wouldn't eat or drink for 2 days before a weigh-in. But then you get to a point where you don't need that as well. You're just like sucking a lemon the night before.
Does the lemons work? Because all fighters used to do that.
I don't know.
But if you Google it, it says it doesn't dehydrate you at all. If you Google it, the AI today tells you that. But lemons, you just drink a whole lemon before you go to bed, right? And it takes all. They reckon takes all the hydration out of you.
Yeah, it's meant to dry the excess fat. That's what we was always told. But then it's like training with a black bag on back in the day.
Yeah.
As soon as you have a glass of water, you're putting the weight back on. So what is the point?
There's a lot of old school practices, and thankfully some of them have been dispensed with in this day and age. We do live in a slightly more enlightened age when it comes to nutrition and such. I mean, I remember Chris Eubank Sr. saying that he wouldn't drink water and he just used to plunge his head into a bowl of water sometimes to relieve the dryness, which is absolute suicide. And it's going to make you hold on to weight. You know what I mean? As you just said, you were eating little and often, and you were drinking plenty of water, and hopefully the weight falls off you as long as you've got it to lose. You know.
So it was like near to me, my end of my career. Obviously, I couldn't do the explosive training as the young guys. So for me, it was like a Rocky movie. You do loads of rounds of sparring and long runs, no weights, nothing. And then I started doing the TRX, what was absolutely amazing for my core strength, because I couldn't do the weights and the mad sit-ups and you don't need to do 100 sit-ups.
Because you're inviting an injury potentially at a certain age, so you need to train smarter. Yeah.
So you just adapt to your body. Like certain weight plans may work for one guy, but won't work for me. I'll be like, nah, I can't do that plan. That don't work for me. But I know how my body worked.
Do you think that, because some fighters from a certain era, before your era even, argue that weigh-ins should be on the same day like they used to be before some point in the 1990s when it changed to the day before? Guys, obviously a guy like Barry McGuigan, for instance, had to make 9 stone on the day of his fights. He couldn't make it. And I know, for instance, Sam Noakes, European lightweight champion today, says he couldn't do that. He said if he had to make it on the day, he'd never make lightweight. You know, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I used to put on a stone 0.4 within 24 hours. That's
just food and water, right? Just food and hydration, drinks.
Yeah. Just having you have your supplement drinks, things like that, and just pastas and things like that. But then when you was an amateur, you had to weigh in on a day, didn't you?
So you did.
And for the tournaments, if you had 3 fights in 3 days, you'd have to weigh in
every day.
Those 3 days on the spin. So the year I lost to Nigel Wright in the senior ABAs at light welterweight, his part of his tournament went on for 3 months. My part went on for 8 months, and that's why I found it harder for me to keep my weight down for that longer generation to make light welterweight, where his side was a lot shorter and he was better at the weight for it as well.
Yeah, sometimes it really is a question of finding your right weight. And I've even heard certain people say a fighter never really found his. And I remember Jimmy Tibbs saying of his son Mark, who's a very successful trainer today, that he said Mark never found his weight. Ideally, he doesn't believe, you know. So it's
I
a
was
lot
a
of factors
natural
involved.
welterweight, light middleweight. The only reason why I went up to light middleweight, I was big enough to go even as an amateur and in the beginning of my pros. But I won the ABA's 2002.
Yeah.
And I think I stayed down. I had, I think, maybe 6, 7 fights as a welterweight. And then I thought, do you know what? I'm making the weight easy, trying to cut corners. At the time, Lenny Dawes was British champion. So I thought, I beat Lenny 5 times out of 6. I think we fought 6 times and I beat him 5 times. Or if I fought 5 times, I beat him 4 and then
4
I beat
times,
his brother in that side of things. But whatever happened, I thought, well, if I make light welterweight, I can beat Lenny. I love Lenny to pieces because whatever tournament I didn't enter, he went and won. So and my dad and his dad always got on well. And it's a shame his dad's not with us no more. But it was still like another family. I treated him like another brother when we ever met up. But in my head, I was like, if I make light welterweight, I'm definitely beating him. I've got his number. And it was the same when I went into Prizefighter in the final. If no one followed me as an amateur, I beat Ted Bammy twice as an amateur. So when I was fighting him in the final, I was 9-1 second favourite.
Was he as hard a puncher as we've always been encouraged to believe, Ted?
Anyone's hard if they eat you.
Oh, yeah, and you were going to say, I don't know, because he didn't really catch me. That's what you're going to tell me.
It's like that. It's that one thing. Who can you say? Like, was he a big puncher? Well, I didn't go down.
You didn't want to find out. Do you know what? It reminds me of Burt Whitehurst, who was the first man to go the distance twice with Sonny Liston, and he may have been the only man ever to go the distance twice with a dangerous peak younger Sonny Liston. And when they asked him about it, because Liston had knocked everybody else out, he said, yeah, you know, Liston is strong, and if he hits you, he'll hurt you. He said, but if you're a professional fighter, you don't let them hit you, which I thought was a wonderful statement. And it's kind of what you're saying about Bammy, really.
But what you're saying, though, like with boxing, though, when you're in that ring, when you're getting hit, it doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't.
I know it sounds strange.
Yeah.
It physically doesn't hurt because the adrenaline.
It never hurts, no. It's just,
so when you wake up,
except for a body shot. Except for a body shot, right?
Well, and the only person to have actually put me to my knees, like I actually had to take a knee. I've had 3 people hit me with body shots when I had Marco Callahan as an amateur hit me with body shot the first time ever, and I was like, oh my God, what was that?
Yeah.
And then I come back from the States and I sparred Steve Roberts. Absolutely.
Yeah, good West Ham fighter. At one point, the longest unbeaten run in British boxing for a little while.
Exactly. He hit me with body shot, and I was like, I don't want to take one of those again. And then as a pro, Matthew Hatton hit me with the best shot of his life, definitely. Because first time I had to take a knee myself, hit me straight in solar plexus, and I really thought to this day I was going to outclass him. I thought I was too slick, too thing, but he just hit me on the button, hit me in the solar plexus. I dropped to my knee and I thought, oh, didn't like that. I couldn't recover from it. And the fight was stopped. And it was the first time I felt like I ever gave up in a fight. And that was, but you've got to be hard to get through a solar plex punch. I don't care who you are. And I've been hit on the chin for 28 years of my life when I was boxing. So, yeah solar plexus, no way, on the chin all day long.
Well, it's been wonderful to get this opportunity to get to know you a bit, Michael, because as I say, obviously I know your name and I know what you did as a boxer, we both live in London, both got East London connections, and for some reason I've never really met you properly and had a conversation with you before. So
because I'm at work.
You just got your head down. Exactly. You're not one of them guys who's just constantly seen. But it's been wonderful to get this chance. I want to remind people about
Tony.
The Tony Cesi event on March the 15th at the rowing club in on the island in what do you call it, Poplar? Would you say?
Yeah, in Poplar.
Yeah.
Have you got like a website? We can post all that. Once we're going to get the posters within the next week or so, and the tickets and that, they're going to be £40 a head. But there's going to be some amazing boxes there. We're just confirming all the fighters that are coming. There's rumours maybe Dubois will be there and that. Terry Marsh. There's going to be a lot of people coming, especially because Tony has done so much for so many people. To even get a Prince's Trust award just says it all. It's not given away to any old person, and that is the main thing. Every penny we earn is going for Tony, no one else. Nothing's getting skimmed off, and that it's to help him for while he's here, and to help his family. So that anyone who comes along is going to be overwhelmed with the type of people there. We're going to have auctions. We've got a Triple G glove. I know Eddie's going to come up with something special. So like there's going to be loads of bits of auctions, raffles, and it'd be nice to just catch up with the boxing family as well.
Absolutely. Michael Lomax, true champion in the ring and out. Thank you for sharing this time with me and Barry Jones a little earlier. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Remember, you know the drill by now. You can share this. You can comment after it goes out of the live section and into the video section. If you haven't pressed the subscribe button already, I really don't know why you haven't done that. I really wish you would do it. In the meantime, thank you, Michael. Be lucky. Keep punching.
Thanks,
it cuts
Ben.
us straight off, so I'll talk to you anon. But thank you very much for coming today. Cheers.
Take care. All the best, mate.